Christmas. Thanks for starting off your holiday week with us here at Your News Today. Don't think I need to remind everyone, today is the 22nd. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day are upon us, and so are a lot of changes weather-wise. Now, last week we were focusing on a whole lot of activity right around Christmas Eve into your Christmas Day that might give us a few flakes. Well, we've got some changes to make, and a big part of that involves some extended warm air and a lot of precipitation, mind you. So you put those two together, you can pretty well imagine what, for the most part, we're going to be in the store for. I've got an updated forecast for you, giving you a heads up on the weather for the holidays in just a few moments. Now, tonight's headlines include a great deal of reports, including a structure fire Friday in Magoffin County, followed just moments by an armed robbery across the Floyd-Magoffin County line. I'll take you to the scene, tell you what we've been able to learn at this hour. A two-vehicle auto accident yesterday in Magoffin County, and a little history lesson this evening, and this is a little bit of a hands-on lesson. The origin of Christmas caroling, where did it come from, and who was that caroling at my door over the course of the weekend? All of that and much more, including a new calendar and some other announcements that we'll need to put out there this evening, and they all begin right after a few words from a few of our sponsors. I'll be right back. As I referred to at the start of the show, a great deal of headlines this evening. Going back to this past Friday night is where we'll begin with coverage of a structure fire in Magoffin County near the Magoffin-Floyd County line on Route 114.
Marysville Fire Chief Paul Howard says the structure fire was reported sometime around 9 o'clock this past Friday evening, and it was actually a motorist traveling Route 114 relatively close line that noticed fire coming from a mobile home that sits just off to the side of Route 114. The location close to 3 miles from the county line. The Sangersville Fire Department responded to the structure fire and found that there was already another responding department at that location.
Upon arrival, Middle Creek Fire Department was already on scene. We actually fought together, Middle Creek Fire Department and the Sangersville Fire Department, to extinguish the blaze of the mobile home belonging to the Watkins family. Nobody lived in the residence. Nobody was home at the time. We're still under investigation to find out who might have set the fire, or if it's a squatter living there and accidentally set the fire, but we don't know at this time. The utilities, definitely wasn't no electrical to it because it was cut from the main pole going to the meter base. The started in the middle of the mobile home around the washer and dryer section of the mobile home, but nothing stands out to show a point exactly.
And I did check with Fire Chief Paul Howard just before airtime, and he said it was still being investigated as a possible arson situation or an accidental fire that may have involved someone who was staying at the residence without any authorization. Now, while fire crews were on the scene of this structure fire, also was a Sangersville City policeman, Mike Nichols, who responded to the scene as well. And while there, he was asked to look for a vehicle which had just left this location of this newly remodeled, even though it's been a long time, gas and convenience store establishment, but this business on 114, about 6 miles or so across the Magoffin-Floyd County line. This was the scene of the latest armed robbery to take place in eastern Kentucky and in Floyd County. Now, police were not releasing any information while I was on scene with my camera Friday night. And I also made calls today to try to reach representatives of the Floyd County Sheriff's Department. That call was not returned. I did speak to Stephen Mounts, who is the new public relations officer with Kentucky State Police Post 9 in Pikeville. While he was off today, he graciously called me back and gave me some limited details. We hope to have some live interviews with you on tomorrow night's program. Preliminary information from what I can ascertain from Officer Mounts as well as Officer Nichols, who received that first call from 911 dispatch in Magoffin County to try to see or locate the suspect vehicle, as it's believed to have pulled out from this location and headed towards Sangersville, Magoffin County, was that at least two suspects, maybe three involved, but armed suspects came into the store, demanded money, of which the cashier gave him an undisclosed amount of cash, then fled on foot, possibly to a vehicle parked off to the side of the parking lot. Now, that vehicle was described to area officials as being a small Suzuki SUV or something of that nature. However, all of this is still preliminary, and in fact, Kentucky State Police Detective Tony Tackett, who is handling the case, was also off today, so I was unable to reach him as well. Very little to go on at this hour, and it's with my apologies, but so far, that's all I have. But an armed robbery, at least 2 suspects, 2 males, possibly even a third individual, armed and dangerous at that time and considered to be thereafter. They got in a vehicle and then pulled off towards the direction of Magoffin County and has not been seen or heard from since. We will have more tomorrow. And this was a scene of an early Sunday morning 2-vehicle accident, also on Route 114, right at the trestle there, the Ivington trestle at the junction of Burning Fork. This is a passenger car being operated by Ryan Rice of Winchester, Kentucky, which was traveling in the direction of Floyd County. His car came into contact with an SUV driven by Lisa Bailey, I'm told, of Magoffin County. Bailey was reportedly exiting Burning Fork and then pulled into the path, according to statements on behalf of the drivers and eyewitnesses of the passenger car operated by Rice. It happened Sunday morning, right around 10 a.m. The drivers were the only occupants of their respective vehicles. From what I understand, Mr. Rice was already in an ambulance and being transported to the Paul B. Hall Medical Center by the TranStar Ambulance Service just as I was arriving. Bailey, too, required medical attention and was also transported to Paul B. Hall by the same TranStar Ambulance Service of Magoffin County. It appears as though the injuries sustained by both drivers were non-life-threatening. Mr. Rice also apparently by the impact as well, but also by statements of emergency personnel, may have been the most severely injured. But once again, non-life-threatening injuries were expected to be the outcome for both drivers. Up next, a few announcements on tonight's Magoffin County Farm Bureau-sponsored community calendar, and as is kind of the norm, the very last few days right before Christmas, well, not a whole lot going on, as there have been a great deal of activities and functions in the days and weeks prior. One announcement on the calendar tonight, and that is by executive order, the Magoffin County Courthouse is to be closed Wednesday the 24th through December the 27th for the celebration of Christmas, and they're also telling me that they're going to be upgrading and doing some maintenance on the county and state computer systems. They also say it's for everyone to have a safe and happy holiday and Merry Christmas from the Judge's Office and everyone at the Magoffin County Courthouse. Remember the reason for the season as well. Closed December the 24th through the 27th. And that's it for calendar announcements. One of the shortest we've had, well, the shortest, I would imagine, all year long. Which gives me just a quick moment or so to remind you that if you got a calendar announcement before, during, or after the holidays, they're free, and they're absolutely the best way to let everyone know what you've got planned. And that includes birthdays and anniversaries, too. And this is exactly how you can get them on the program, as well as dropping them off here at the newsroom on East Maple Street, just a few doors above the Sagersville Post Office. We also have one funeral service announcement for this Monday, the 22nd day of December, and it's in honor of 79-year-old Ralph Keaton of Williamstown, Kentucky, who passed away on Friday. Formerly of Magoffin County, he was married to Imogene Carty Keaton, who preceded him in death. He's also survived by daughters Darlene Caniff, Connie Keaton, Ora Webb, and a son, Darrell Keaton. Visitation continues this evening and up until services. They're to begin tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. Visitation and services from the Magoffin County Funeral Home. Burial has been set to take place following services at the Carty Cemetery on Stinson in Magoffin County.
Now, before I wrap it up tonight with your Licking Valley RECC forecast for the holidays, a little history lesson for us all this evening as it relates to the tradition of Christmas caroling. What I have learned for certain about Christmas caroling is that its history is a bit unclear and that it's been around for a long time. It's a tradition that a whole lot of folks love, young and old alike. It's a great way to spread holiday cheer for all the world to hear, quoting a popular Christmas movie that I've seen 4 or 5 dozen times this holiday alone. It's also a way to do it without spending a lot of money, and it's also a great way to lift spirits of those, for example, who can't get out maybe during the holiday season, for those who may be confined to a nursing home or other assisted living facility, things of that nature. Christmas caroling is also used as a way for some charities to raise money, donations around the holiday season. But how did such a heartwarming tradition even begin? Well, that answer is indeed quite gray. What is thought to be the most believable account of the origins of Christmas caroling takes place in England back in the 1840s when Prince Albert married, I believe it was Victoria of England, that's Prince Albert of Germany, and the English peasants were so eager to please as well as impress the newly married royal couple that when they read in the papers that Prince Albert loved Christmas carols, well, they began to just lavish him with carols and singing whenever they had the opportunity, and it's been a tradition ever since. It's also said that the Methodists and the Lutherans brought a modified version of this tradition to America. The American tradition of caroling involves traveling carolers being offered food and drinks after being welcomed to the homes that they were serenading. Even though we are not for certain about the actual origins of Christmas caroling and where it all began, it's a tradition that's still loved by many, but not one that we see quite as often as we did years ago, even when I was a young boy. But it's still out there. It's still a heartwarming way to let folks know you're thinking of them, and it also tends to awaken the Christmas spirit in those who, well, are going to give them an eager ear. And that leads me to the last report before your weather forecast, a knock on my door this past Friday night.
Merry Christmas in front of the Burning Fork Community Church. We'd like to sing you some Christmas carols. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeers used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeers loved him as he shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven, nature sing. And heaven, nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings of Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas!
Happy holidays.
And you know, it just now hit me. I probably should have held that to tomorrow night's ending for Christmas. So maybe I'll just play it again. A special thanks to everyone at the Burning Fork Community Church for stopping by my house. I kind of put a little special request so I could put it on TV, and I was very appreciative of them showing up. Christmas cheer. Gotta love it. Forecast is as follows from Licking Valley RECC 28's where we started. We hit 57 degrees today, and check out the temperatures. And we got a big change from the forecast I had for you on Friday. Tonight, a low of 42 degrees, a 20% chance of some showers, mainly after 4 a.m. So definitely for the first full day of winter. It's winter now, everybody. Pretty mild nighttime low. And speaking of mild, check out your Tuesday. Yes, we're going to be topping 60 degrees tomorrow, maybe even a little better than 61 before it's over. And look at the low tomorrow night of 53 degrees. Now, granted, we'll see mostly cloudy skies. We'll see a 40% chance of showers, mainly after 10 a.m. in the morning. And then those chances of showers are going to increase as the day does. And we're going to see quite a rainy Tuesday in store. Now, Friday's forecast called for 42 degrees on Christmas Eve as some cold air filtered in while we still had a lot of that moisture around. Not so much now. The warm air is going to hang on and into Christmas Eve where we should see 60 again on Christmas Eve. Let me back it up. So we're just going to see 2 days in the 60s. tomorrow and Christmas Eve. Now, Christmas Eve right now looks to be as well cloudy, and we'll see rain kicking things off on your Wednesday, and winds 5 to 29 miles per hour, gusts upwards close to 30 miles per hour. It's going to be a blustery, albeit warm, but blustery and rainy start to Christmas Eve. And that chance of showers will wane as Wednesday goes on, but it's still going to be around through Wednesday night and into Christmas Day. Christmas Day looks to be pretty much like this. Definitely cooler. Down to 44 for daytime highs. Lows just above freezing Christmas night. Partly sunny, so there is a possibility that we do have a little bit of rain mixed with a little bit of snow early in the morning, but that's it. And that's just all we're going to see. So I think all hopes for a white Christmas pretty much dashed at this point. Flake or two, possibly. Possible. But that's about it. Really, some decent temperatures, though, prevailing through a lot of your forecasts. 52 Friday, a low of 35. Sunshine returns for the end of the Christmas work week. Hopefully not everyone having to go to work. I know a lot of folks will. And for the weekend, as a lot of folks still are going to be celebrating the holidays, Saturday looks to be 45. It looks to be mostly cloudy. And it also looks to have a chance of some rain and snow showers, albeit a slight chance Saturday night into your Sunday, when we have another chance of some snow showers early, with mostly sunny skies and temperatures for daytime highs just below the 40-degree mark. So all in all, it's just a whole lot of everything in your forecast. Not a lot of snow, not a lot of cold air either, mind you, as we're going to see once again. We saw 50s today, 60s tomorrow, 60 on Christmas Eve, but it's going to be a wet one and a windy one, mind you. Well, that's my time for now. I'll see you back here to wrap up pre-Christmas coverage with more of your news today, a follow-up on that armed robbery, and hopefully some other ways to spread a little Christmas cheer. Thank you all for being a part of the program. We sincerely hope you enjoy your evening. Have a good night.